And should be live in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. This is the Triple S League with the 23rd. Ooh, wow. 23rd Cyberpunk 2077 community podcast with our special guests, Madqueen Show and NeonArcade. How are you guys doing today? Starting with Madqueen.
Greetings, Earthlings.
You baited me, man.
I know.
Rude. What kind of host does that?
And how are you doing today, Neon?
I'm good.
That's good. So, oh my goodness, it's been a wild past few days, with the all the stuff and the info that's been dumped on our laps, and there's still stuff that I'm finding right now. So it's like good lord. It's good stuff though. I think the average or the overall feedback, mine is I looked at it and I said, this is exactly the game that I was expecting and I was wanting to see. I'm pretty much happy on every single level, aside from my two bigger gripes that we have already covered to death, and I'm not going to go into them again because it's kind of it's at this point it's too late in the process to kind of tweak that around, and my points on those have been well known. For people who were you were really overly nice about it, and it's yeah, well, except for the 2 points that I'm really upset about, but we don't talk about that anymore because I've talked about them to death. So Neon, how was your overall reaction to the gameplay?
My knee-jerk reaction was I thought it was okay. When I was first watching, I think it was mostly the outdoor sequences. I was like, there's something going on with kind of the graphical fidelity here. I didn't know if it was the specific district that it's all hazy and stuff. But the textures didn't seem as pronounced. The character models didn't seem as pronounced as the 48-minute demo. So that kind of threw off the rest of my viewing experience. When I watched it back again, I actually enjoyed it a lot more, and I took the time to kind of slow it down because I think the editing was a little bit jarring of the actual presentation itself. They were jumping around a little bit too much. You couldn't really focus too much on what was happening. So I think once you watch it again, you get a lot more out of it. But yeah, something was going up with the graphics in the outdoor sequences that kind of just threw me off. So
I believe that it was the video quality, not the graphics of the game. Because if you look at the text on screen, including to the Project Red's logo,
yeah.
everything looks kind of blurred. And I believe that the problem is when they captured the game.
Yeah, and when you watch it back on the official channel, it looks a lot better, but that issue is still a little bit present. I don't know. It's I was looking into it. It might have been chromatic aberration or all these other things. They're experimenting with their RTX technology, so there's a lot of different culprits it could be. But yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part.
It could just also be they had kind of a render that didn't go quite as good, and trust me, this has happened a lot of times before, where they're basically okay, we're ready to go, and they basically just click on the wrong file. I cannot tell you how many times that has happened where they sit down, they record something, it's the same video with minor changes in either audio or video or file size or rendering, whatever. You've got 20 or 30 of them, and you just pick the wrong one. I've seen this happen before. Yeah,
it's funny because in the trailer, the gameplay sneak peek trailer that we got after E3, I believe, there's some sequences that are the same as this demo. If you side by side them, that trailer is actually a lot more clear in some instances, especially there's a hacking one where his hands look a little bit more clear, and I think there's also a motorcycle element.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's the motion blur or whatever it might be, but it looks off in some.
Yeah.
It looks way better in some instances and not so good in others. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. So I think this boils down to basically some minor glitching or issues with the render, or the copying of the the render into the video. So but yeah, that was a little annoying, and we know that basically they basically put this together quite quickly after the Gamescom thing. So I suspect strongly that that I think I understand why they wanted to prune it down. We talked about this on a couple of times now, but basically they pruned it down because there's a bunch of stuff and info that was in some of the, because not every presentation was the same, because they were live doing it and they were talking back and forth, answering some questions. In one case, somebody hit a menu that they weren't supposed to, and like very quickly like X'd out of it. So naturally you wouldn't want to put those up, right? Because those are things that people are not supposed to see, that people don't have the ability to, in that particular context, people don't have the ability to pause the demo and then go back with it with a fine-tooth comb and examine every single inch and every single like frame of the entire thing to check out all of the hidden messages. By the way, have you guys found all the hidden messages yet? Because I found a few.
I'm on it. You're not going to ask me what do I think of the demo. Okay, thank you.
I'm getting there. So my consensus is that the demo was a little bit shorter because they were trying to keep too many spoilers from us. You can show a lot of content to some people right away, and in kind of like a live setting, and they won't catch everything. And then down the road, you're gonna have somebody who's gonna have the ability to like go over it over and over again, and they're gonna find a ton of things that you don't necessarily want them to see, and things that are kind of like
I mean, if they were going with that kind of ideology, they could have just skipped the lore element part of it. Like, why do we need to know about Pacifica?
True.
Just get right into the gameplay and let it play out for a little bit longer and let us see that, if that's truly what you're going for. You know what I mean?
Well, it's important to know a little bit about the setting for people to understand what kind of setting it is, because I believe that 15 minutes is it's way more manageable for people that don't know much about the game. And on last E3, a lot of new people came into being interested in the game. So this tactic, first, yes, avoid spoilers. And I feel really bad that they avoided the big spoiler at the end, because this is something I wanted to see. But also, under a marketing perspective, if they made an almost hour-long gameplay, most probably people that are not yet truly interested in the game would even bother to watch it.
I suppose that's fair.
Right.
Yeah, they have to get into it a little bit, but maybe they extended it a little long, and they should have showed a little bit more gameplay. That's just my personal opinion.
I wouldn't mind.
There was way more. There was way more jumping around than I would have preferred. And I think that they had the right idea in the first one, and like I use Skyrim as an example all the time. There's some dungeons that you can run in Skyrim that don't show very much or any plot whatsoever. Actually, most of them. And you just show off the gameplay. You show off sneaking, open combat, traps, mixing stuff, crafting, like all this kind of stuff. This is what they should have done. They should have picked a smaller mission, a smaller thing, and shown it from start to end. And I think they should have put that out, or like show the first half and then follow up that second half.
I agree 100%. Yeah, they should have showed us side quest and then fleshed it out a little bit more, because then you could avoid the spoilers. Yeah,
because I know that there's a lot of spoilers that they're trying to avoid. They're trying to avoid that they're this is like really, really far down. And I mean, they already kind of gave away a significant number of spoilers with the Redwall and the other stuff that we won't. If we get into that, we'll put up a big warning ahead of time. So, Madqueen, what's yours? What's your kind of reaction to it? Madqueen.
She's speechless.
Oh,
blew her away.
Of course, I choose the one moment that she mutes herself to ask.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute me.
I thought
because I'm coughing a little, I didn't want to bother with it. I was talking and I didn't realize I was muted. So I loved it. I really loved it. I wanted to see especially combat, because I had some issues with the combat in past gameplay, mostly based on animations, because I didn't think they were great. And I have the joke of this Netrunner, when we go to the Maelstroms and what I believe is the Soul Killer kills the Netrunner, and he starts dancing the Macarena. Because I believe this animation was, I was when I saw it at E3, and we went from super quality in animations, and suddenly this animation, I was about to start shouting, "No! What did you do?" But in this, the animations have been very improved in combat, and in general, the graphic quality has. I believe that it's been really improved. I'm also a little annoyed with the video problems. Let's be honest. I believe that the three people present here have experience in capturing gameplay, and we also have experience in issues that we have with capturing gameplay and graphic issues that we can have about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pity because I wanted to enjoy the new graphic quality of the game, and also I'm in total and absolute love with the net. I feel so bad they didn't show more about it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know the graphical style in movement because we saw images, but we didn't see how this was animated. And the way it's animated, the sense of irreality of the net, that you are in a virtual space that is unreal, I believe that is really, really, really on point. Under an artistic perspective, this is the part of the game that I was looking forward to see the most. Because a city is a city. Obviously, I am not saying that it doesn't have any kind of artistic merit because Night City is so beautiful. But in the net, the options, the amount of options is limitless on what direction they could have taken. And the one they decided to take, I love it.
Same.
Yeah.
The
And
one
I also in past gameplay complained about the music, but we already saw the evolution of that. The music suits the atmosphere of the game way better, and also the song that Martin Pshubovic composed for the trailer is amazing. I love it. And also the songs by Samurai, also lovely. So I loved everything as you said. Yeah, but I would have rather that they show more gameplay, and also I believe that this way of ordering the gameplay and to edit the gameplay doesn't give the proper context to understand what we are saying in terms of gameplay, even though it is explained. But as a gamers, we always rather to see it by ourselves. So this is the only thing that made me unhappy, the editing of the gameplay, and that someone wasn't in the net, that we all know was there, and was at E3's gameplay. 157 people watching and only 43 likes. Click that like button. Show YouTube who's the boss here.
Squish it. Squish the button.
Squish it. So, well, I mean, we all know that alt is in the game. We had that confirmed to us ages and ages ago. So there's lots of people saying, "Oh, she's not in the game anymore." It's like, no, she's in the game. Just because she didn't get shown in this one thing doesn't mean
I think that was one of the major things they omitted because of quote unquote spoilers, right?
Yeah, but we already know.
Everybody knows that alt is in the net.
About it, but for the general populace who haven't been following the game, and I guess it wouldn't really matter. Like it's an arbitrary. Like if they're to say Alt Cunningham, it doesn't really strike an accord with people who.
If you played the pen and paper game and for you Alt Cunningham is important, you've been following the game. If you have not been following the game, you are not a player. So Alt Cunningham, okay, this person that is in the net.
I mean, yeah, we already know that, but it's just for the newer people, I suppose. I can't justify it in any other way.
Yeah, but the new people don't even know who Alt Cunningham is.
Exactly, yeah.
So why is a spoiler for them? It's a spoiler for the people that played the pen and paper game and is expecting several characters to be there. Unless, which is my only theory, is that, journalists watching the demo at E3 and Gamescom usually are not very, very, very into the lore. So I believe that this is a theory that there was a hint of Rage Badmos, that the spoiler wasn't only Alt Cunningham.
Well, there was his book in one of the screenshots, right?
Yes, the Rage Badmos Guide to the Net.
Yeah. Are you referring to that?
So I mean, we don't. Correct. Yeah. Are you saying that we know for sure that he's going to make an appearance, or he's just going to be referenced? Which point are you meaning?
This is a theory. I mean, I had no quote unquote inside confirmation, because obviously, if someone that is working on the game told me that spoiler, I believe they appreciate their life enough to avoid it. But it's a theory that I have, that if you knew enough of the lore, you would see Al Cunningham, but the rabbit's virus is avatars of Rage Baltimores.
Well, I mean, okay, so I mean that depends on what you mean by whether or not he's alive, right?
Well,
Because
he's not. He died more than once to start with.
But he would have to be behind the black wall, correct? And I don't think they showed that element. They just showed the wall kind of pulsating and someone's face coming. I guess that would be him, maybe. The face that's pulsating through the wall.
Yes,
it wasn't.
but,
I didn't think it. I don't think that was a face. I think that was a giant thing running in, like slamming into it, basically.
Okay.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch this part frame by frame yet, so I couldn't. I wouldn't be able to tell. I'm focusing on the references of the books.
Now again, I mean, I understand that most of you haven't had the experience of actually being within a containment wall, so it's.
You sure about that?
But yes, I mean, the rabbit's virus are avatars of Rage Baltimores. I mean, if not himself, an avatar.
Yeah, but I don't think Rage is going to be in the game as like in the same way that Alt Cunningham is going to be in the game, or that Johnny Silverhand is going to be in the game. I just don't think it's a thing.
I don't know because the rabbit's virus used the same technology that made Alt Cunningham an artificial intelligence.
Same technology is like it's like
he multiplied himself inside the net, so it's
but not his entire persona.
No, not his entire persona, but
just
little
portions
avatar.
of himself.
And I don't know. Maybe maybe someone inside the net can recreate him.
I doubt it. I think this is one of these things where it's like they're dredging up. Like if they brought him back, if they brought, I mean, at that point, I mean, you might as well base the whole thing in 2020 because at that point you've got no room for new challenges, new characters, new stories.
Not bringing him back like Johnny Silverhand, with this relevance, but like a little bit of rage here and rage there, which would be way more into the style of Rage Baltimore because he was a paranoid. So is he here?
I suppose it depends on how prevalent the net is in the story, right? How often are we going to go there? Because I think they've mentioned that we'll be going there in specific instances, but not all the time.
Yeah.
So in those isolated scenarios, is he going to be present? Maybe, right? But we're not going to get too many of those. Is that what they're trying to say?
I don't know.
I think the net in this game, the net is going to not be the end all be all of the plot point because it's too much. Whereas it's like you have so much room to explore and to build the normal physical world and like fleshing that out. That if they were to make 90% of this game in the net, that's way too much. I mean, it's at that point it's ridiculous. If you were to do it, 80, 70, 60, 40, 50, like where is it? Probably 10. Yeah. In my humble opinion, it's probably 10% of the game, if that, maybe even 5%, because it's just not. It's a great place for expansions and future work to be setting up like things down the road. It's not something that you want to be, blowing half of the game on immediately before people even have before people can even connect or like because net being in the net is totally different than being in the Cyberpunk physical universe. It's two very different experiences, two very different games almost, to the point where it's like it's a completely different thing, and I really don't think that they're going to focus that much on it. So I'm going to get to some quick questions here. So Mark Jackson asked, the Red Wall seems kind of weird because I thought the old company shut down their corporate nodes because they were fried and gone. The old net seems to be quite active and alive, just dangerous. To this, I'm gonna pull some cool, interesting facts to you.
Do you want me to explain the law?
Well, let me preset it with what happens in reality first, and then you can kind of get into that. But for the most part, when you have like old infrastructure, it's never it's almost never. There are instances where it is, but it's almost never cheaper to tear out the old stuff and then to put in the new stuff. It's always cheaper to just put the new stuff over top of the old stuff. And if you do this over and over and over and over again, eventually you have, probably I think one of the more famous examples is probably Paris. You have literally thousands of years of catacombs beneath the city, and in places like New York, even there you have like, I've been to, you can go on city spelunking tours where it's like you're on top of like the first generation of like, underground buildings and facilities, and they're still there. And then there's another layer and another layer, and then finally the layer that's actually being used. Like, this stuff is really, really common. And so you got to imagine the net kind of like that way. It's, a lot of those nodes fried, but a lot of them didn't. And a lot of them are now being basically cycled and set up and leeching off of the old systems. It's something that's really, really common. There was an interesting... I definitely actually shouldn't mention this. So sorry, Madqueen, you go. I definitely can't mention that.
So the thing is that in the NetWatch didn't pull the plug from all the nodes of the net, just some of them, key ones, to avoid the virus from spreading. So I guess that if we get into the net, it's going to be obviously Pacifica, because it's the region of the net that you connect when you enter from Night City. And this connection of key nodes is probably what is going to be the excuse for us not to be able to leave Pacifica if once we enter into the net. And this that can I say, well, quote unquote spoilers, not really spoilers because they are in the lore, but it can be spoilers for people that don't know the lore. It is okay?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the net right now, the only people that we can find in the net are artificial intelligences. And the thing is that the virus also most probably infected all of them. And Rage Bartmos believed that Pacifica, the region of Pacifica, was an artificial intelligence by itself. So if this AI was infected, most probably it tried to rebuild itself, but going crazy. This is one of the reasons why I want to see the net like crazy about to find out if Rage Bartmos was right. Also because if he was right, then the graphical style can be pretty crazy inside the net. But now it's controlled by artificial intelligences, and the funny thing about that is that most about of the artificial intelligences called the heuristic controllers are the ones that are in control of physical things outside the net. So I don't know exactly what's going to be the interaction between the inside of the net and the outside of the net. In this demo that we saw, we are explained that NetWatch wants access to the artificial intelligences inside the net. Some of them are AIs as we understand them, usual science fiction.
Boys.
Then you have human artificial intelligences like Alt Cunningham that became artificial intelligences for the Soul Killer. And then you have a third type of artificial intelligence that were created spontaneously inside the net. So imagine what kind of artificial intelligences can be created inside the net spontaneously if it's infected by a virus. This can be really dangerous.
I think you mean the Voodoo Boys want access to the net to speak to the AIs, because...
yes. What did you say?
Yeah. You said NetWatch was doing that.
Oh, sorry. I meant the Voodoo Boys.
Yeah. So, okay. Next question is Simon, 2 questions. Randall says, like the narrator said, deep C character customization system, and we literally just saw 6 sliders. We know there's much more, and that it was just a teaser. But for those who don't, it could be a bad impression. Yes, that's a very good point here. The other point that I've been making is that when it comes to the nudity within the game and the character creator, that frankly put, basically, I think there's a switch that turns that stuff on and off. And you want that there so that streamers can get onto Twitch and play the game in front of a general audience of 12 and 13-year-olds. Because apparently watching somebody get shot in the head is totally, and watching their head explode is totally okay, but seeing the side of a nipple is just really, that's not acceptable at all. So
mostly monetization.
Yeah, mostly it comes down to monetization, right?
We discussed this with Elijah when she was here. Remember?
Yes, and again, it's like we've been saying this the whole time, but a lot of people have jumped on the idea is, oh, they've cut all nudity out of the game. It's like, don't be ridiculous. Mm-hmm. They even in this latest one, they showed the nip slip again. So guys, it's obviously not been removed. It's like, it's there for the streamers. It's there for monetization.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, most people will play it with those things off, right? But if you want to, if you want to stream something, or if you want to do a game guide or something like that without it being like shut down from YouTube, you kind of got to play the game. And we don't like playing those games. I can't iterate that enough. We don't like having to play these games. We don't like having to ask you guys to hit the sub button. But the point is, if we don't even ask, they don't even recommend the videos. So and we've tested this, and you get 5% the push instead of like 80% of your normal push. So that's huge and unfortunate. But yes, that is a great question, Simon, because that does give some people a bad question. And I think to combat this, you just kind of stick to facts and kind of remind everybody where we're at. So, yeah. How many starting points do we get for the build? By my count, Madqueen, we had what was it, 18 starting points? Because there's a default 1 in each one, right? Or sorry, no.
18. Where are you getting 18 from?
No, 15. We get 17 points because there's default 1 in each category, correct?
I am sorry because I didn't review with attention this part, so I cannot.
Are you talking about the life paths?
No.
But in the pen and paper game, is random, is with dice.
Yeah.
So I cannot make a parallel with the video game because it works different.
I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting about 17 points to throw around. It's 22 total, minus 5 because 1 is defaulted into each one. So yeah, I don't think you can bring your body down to 0. I really wish you could, because I could be totally an ethereal just running around like,
Well, that makes sense.
You can't hit me because I'm not here.
In the demo, they were playing with 34 points, I believe, and they were level 18 at that point. So I think you might be around the ballpark of starting points.
Well, are you talking about skill points, or are you talking about
skill points,
attribute points? Well, I'm talking attribute points, not skill points.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think we're probably starting somewhere. Whether or not we can get more from various things in the game or leveling up, or has yet to be super confirmed. So yeah. All right. Next question is there going to be free roam of the net? No. Nope.
Well, this hasn't been officially confirmed. That's a theory of yours.
I'm putting this out here. No, there's going to be no free roaming mode of the net, considering the net is behind the red wall. If you meant the local net, maybe, but I kind of doubt it.
But we are going into the net, and so at some point to meet Al Cunningham.
Yeah, but not free roaming. I think that meeting is going to be very short and very story-based.
This is a theory of yours. There's no official confirmation that the part of the net is not open.
Considering how much it takes to get you into the net in that one scene, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm pretty sure that's not going to be a thing. But again, that's my opinion.
We'll see. Considering how important the net was inside 2020, I doubt that it's going to be as little relevant as you think.
Yeah. So we'll see. There might be a major spoiler or story alteration there. as the narrator said, letting the AIs, through the wall would be the end of the world. And so yeah, so that's something. Now, end of the world as it is, or we'll see. All right, Max Durrett, which hello in the chat, is asking us which of the 3 main classes are we going to be. Are you guys aiming for stealth, heavy, or heavy armor weapons modes? Right now, I'm thinking stealth. What about you two?
Solo. But I'm still into like net running, but I'm shooting people in the head person.
I thought I would like net running going into this a lot more, but the solo one just spoke to me a lot more, so.
I'm going to be a ninja with the hacking. Yeah.
But solo is the shit. They totally and absolutely made me fall in love with this feature where you can pick someone and use it as a shield.
Gears of War style.
Yeah. All right. Kano K says, what's your favorite moment of the reveal, and what was the thing you hated seeing the most? We already kind of mostly covered this. I think that it's. I have a favorite moment. I've got a couple of them, but
there's so many.
I liked hearing that there's a double jump. Yeah, I'll go with that. So
before you go to that, can I ask a super quick question? Answer. T.O.B. Hi, for someone who started late, what would be a quick way to get up to date with the lore before game launches? You came to the right place. You go to my channel and you're going to find tons and tons and tons of lore. I have a beautiful playlist called Lore in Zip. And in there, I have more than 40, almost 50 videos. Go there and watch lore. You're going to learn a lot.
Don't you have more?
If you're looking for something very, very quick, then I would suggest picking up a copy of the Cyberpunk Red book and just kind of reading through that, because that'll kind of set you up the early game version, the Jumpstart kit, because you can read through the digital version, kind of get caught up on a bunch of generalized stuff, kind of get a general feel of the game. That's probably the absolute shortest. Like,
it's got 2020 backstory too involved in that.
Yeah, but I mean, all of us have been doing like lore videos and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, just hit up any of the lore videos to kind of catch up on where you're at with that kind of stuff, and then just kind of go from there. All right. Mark Jackson is asking, does it seem like Johnny returned to the real world prior to 77? Due to the fresh spray painting of Where's Johnny and the host discussing his last ride in 2076. I think that he's clearly been around for a while, and he's been jumping from host to host. We know that much for sure. So, yeah, we also know that his to address Gustava in the chat right now. We also know that his avatar has undergone some changes, and his and what you see will sometimes be a little bit better and a little bit worse as far as what you see the model, and that we know that his features will change a little bit from time to time. This was kind of hinted at quite strongly from somebody from the studio. So, yeah. And then what are Netwatch afraid of? The end of the world. Basically what that is. That's from even Parkinson. So, all right. So that's caught us up on most of the.
Well, yes and no. Again. They are mega corporation. What are mega corporations afraid of? Losing control.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Which is the end of their world, right? It's like, and that's where I think that's a little bit deceptive, because the end of the world for a corporation is not necessarily the end of the world for everybody else. In fact, sometimes you don't even notice. There used to be this store called Kmart, and they met their end of the world, and well, nobody really cares. So
Kmart, good old Kmart.
Yeah, good old. You remember San? Oh my goodness.
San?
San. SAAN.
No, might have been before my time.
a little bit before your time. But yeah, it's like corporations come and go all the time. So yeah, maybe letting the AIs out of the out of their containment might be something that's good for some people. Certain probably might be good to kind of like level the playing field. But the last time that happened, like half the world died. So you want to be careful of what choice you're making in Cyberpunk 2077.
What do you guys think about that scene where like V jacks into the agent and then she gets to fry all his associates or whatever, his Netwatch buddies? Is that what was happening? Because you see on the
I didn't understand what you said. Can you please repeat?
So when female V goes to the Netwatch agent in the theater, and then punches him and puts him down and then hacks into him, and like kind of fries him, and you see on the screen all these like other Netwatch agents, and there's like a X over their icon. She's transmitting that virus or whatever malware to all those different agents. I thought that was pretty cool.
I don't think it was. I think. So my perception of what was happening there wasn't that she was letting a virus go. Is that she was like basically this is like a.
Well, if you hack into his network, you get access to all the people connected to it, right?
Well, again, I'm gonna have to try and like.
That's how
I looked over that part. I looked over that part a few times, and from what I saw is basically, as soon as you took down his kind of like he's kind of a pillar, right? And you take down that pillar, then that's going to cause other places to fall as well. And by doing that, you end up like basically destroying everything. And it's like dominoes. You put one, there we go.
Okay, yeah. Darkness says no. They shut her down. That makes more sense actually.
Yeah. So it's like to kind of protect because they're trying to protect the system.
Sure.
And and it just basically like cascades everything down. So, and I think the other thing that we kind of see there is when V met up with Bridget after that, she punches the dude and she's like, "You set me up." That's where it's like, yeah, they basically like now Netwatch knows that she's they're going to be coming for V now because V did that one thing. So how that kind of goes from there, I don't know. So
yeah, they did use her. There was a screenshot that referred to her as a floor rag or something when they released the screenshots. Yeah.
I'd like to answer a question with a comment from JJ2SAD. I guess elderly people don't exist because no one gets old. No, not really. The life expectancy in the streets is not great.
Yeah. You don't find very many old people in societies that are, on the brink, so to speak. So it's just remember that. So, yeah. All right. We do have the winners from the contest. We are going to contact you guys. Greek Strawberry, David K, and Dogs of War. Congratulations, you guys won the 3 giveaway packs for the Jumpstart Kit. We'll be contacting you directly afterwards. But if you are listening to the podcast, congratulations.
And also click that like button, please. Be so kind. It needs love. Yeah.
All right, so what do we suspect? Via Rivia is asking, what do we expect has happened to Johnny's chip in the as far as like the history of it? How long do you think that's been around? Do you think that's been around since 2020, or do you think it's been around for a little bit less than that? Is that something that popped up maybe in the, I don't know, maybe it popped up in 2040 something, because it's when the 2045 is when the next game is taking place.
Well, I have a theory, but I cannot comment on it.
All right. I think that we are going to, because of the way that they talked about it in Cyberpunk Red, I think that is the origin of the chip. And then I think it's going to, going forward, I think it's going to kind of change and evolve we're going to see that how it changed and evolved going from 44 into 77. But I think there was a period of time where that chip was not not being passed around, not being used, was in some kind of a special location or container, or maybe an ice box. Ooh, we don't know.
Because Leia did say it's been passed from hand to hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And was that the nature of why? I think she debunked this actually. Was that the nature of why his hair changed color? I think she said
yes.
no, but initially it seemed like she said yes.
Yeah. So his hair has changed, and some other things have changed about him because of the
passing
chip being passed back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Answering again, JJ2 said, I want to see the part of society that decides not to become a cyberpunk or use any piece of technology on their body. No, you probably won't, because they won't survive, and they won't find the job.
Even the monks in the demo had some sort of like eye augmentations and stuff. So not even they're like,
even the Inquisitors use Bioware.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's going to be this, if you can't afford anything, you're probably going to be on the very, very low end of the totem pole, so to speak. You're probably going to be everybody's stepping stone. I suspect that those people will exist, but I suspect that it's not a very fun life. So it's kind of like today. It's like, try to do that. Try to live with zero technology. I mean, there's a handful of places where that happens, and I mean, we're talking like you don't use anything
unless you move to the Himalayas and become a monk. Then you're pretty much screwed in that department. Yeah,
so it might be interesting. That's an interesting thought experiment to kind of see where do you think it's been. Mad Queen, I'll ask you this because this is an interesting question. Did we get confirmation that the bozos are in the game?
Not officially. Not extra officially.
I meant from the gameplay. There was a particular shirt that was very interesting.
You mean the yellow, the yellow with a smiley that the devs were wearing in A3?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny because before this shirt has been around for a while. It was the first image we had from V before we saw the revamped game, and actually back then, before we knew that the Voodoo Boys were going to have some relevance in the game, my theory was that this represents the Voodoo Boys.
Mm-hmm. In the menu, it says V's favorite shirt when it's next to the smiley face one. That's what it's called in the menu.
And to be the bosses, it should be more cloney.
Yeah.
This reminds me of a Goosebumps show that I watched, Goosebumps episode that I watched long time ago, where there's this kid who's hitting like puberty, and his dad's like, "Son, I got to talk to you about the changes that you're gonna have," and he's like, "Ooh, no," and he keeps on running away. But then things keep getting weird. He starts to encounter clowns and more clowns and all kinds of other clowns, and things are getting weirder and weirder. And then he discovers that his parents are clowns, and that the changes that his dad was talking to him about were the fact that he was becoming a clown. I just had a thought: what if V was a clown the whole time? The whole time she's been a bozo the whole time, and she's like a sleeper agent for the bozos. And the joke is that she nukes the city, because what greater joke is that than at the end? That would be
How to kill your game 101.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about the bozos is, I wanted Playland by the Sea to be the turf of the bozos, but if the Voodoo Boys control Pacifica as a whole, I don't know if this would be possible.
Mm-hmm. So another quick question we have here is, do you think that one of the endgame outcomes will be the Megacorp being destroyed by the possible choices, like the king? He's sorry, they're referencing K on K is K no K is referring to
a big corporate maybe, but a big corp, I really doubt it.
Yeah, like Megacorp, I don't know if we'll be able to bring any of them down. I think because of like lore reasons and like future expansions and whatnot, you don't want to have or give the player the choice to like change the entirety of the future. Like, you know, if you have a choice of destroying Arasaka or not, that makes it really difficult to build later games on. So I don't think so. Parkinson is asking again, do you think that Numi I don't know how to say that. Sorry, I'll skip that one. What's the do you think there's a secret fourth path, life path? Once you complete the 100% of the game and you unlock.
Do you really want to give devs more work?
It's the fourth one is the Bozo life path.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely brilliant. I think that is absolutely brilliant.
DLC content, fire DLC content.
I demand a brain dance where we can play as bosses. Corporations are the government, and you can't beat the government. Well, that's the spirit of Cyberpunk in a nutshell.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of looking at it.
Can we romance the corporal mummy? Very important question here. Well, I guess you mean Meredith Stout, and it's funny. This wasn't exactly commented, but in the interviews that were done after the demo was shown, after the gameplay was shown, where they were talking about the life paths and what would happen if you choose a corporal life path, and it was more the tone answering that you may have another options with Meredith Stout.
Ooh.
So, ooh.
Wait, where did they say this? Was this in the?
Was in the was it in the interviews like after the demo?
I didn't get a chance
when Pavel Sasko is explaining the life paths, he said that maybe with Meredith Stout you could have other options. He didn't confirm that you could romance her, but you know, the tone was like wink wink.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's awesome. Did they bring up Mr. Stud in that interview as well? That's what I heard. I haven't watched it yet, but
yes. He said that one of his favorite body augments would be the Mr. Stud, of course. So I laughed at that because I knew he was referencing. I knew he was referencing the interview. So, and I think that's a yeah. I think that's gonna be really funny. Like, seriously, I think that would be hilarious. It's like get a 4-foot Mr. Stud and then have that as part of your character.
Use it as a kickstand.
Yeah. So it's part of your sniper rifle build. Yeah, totally.
Can't wait to see where Midnight Stud, Mr. Stud and Midnight Lady, which I believe that they can have changed they possibly changed the name in the game to Miss Midnight. I am not sure about that, but I believe.
Yeah, so we'll see what comes to that. I'm going to take Sasquatch out for some pre-workout, very romantic stuff. Oh yes,
you better have the juice and the Mr. Stud.
Well, we know that you can spare Sasquatch's life. You don't have to kill her if you don't want to. So that's going to be kind of interesting. Like, seriously, I wonder if you can, you spare her life and then you're like, oh, Miss Sasquatch, you don't understand. I'm just here for this chip thing. I don't care for I'm not going to put you down. In fact, would you like to go out for dinner tomorrow night? It's like, I'm
here for snoo.
Fun. Snoo. Oh dear. All right.
Who would you date? You two. Who would you date in the game?
I haven't seen anybody yet. I've seen some NPCs on the street that kind of look very interesting. I'm like, ooh, that person's probably got a cool backstory. I wonder how that would go. So yeah. Out of all of the main characters yet, I've not seen one yet that I've been overly like, ooh, that's going to be a fun romance option. I'm more interested in like I think we're gonna see a bunch of that kind of coming out after the fact, and that would be pretty cool. Because like, I mean, you know, it's like after having played a bunch of these like mods with Skyrim, where it's like basically you could turn anybody into a potential, like anybody in the entire game. It's like, I think that would probably be possible. So I don't know.
Meredith is into bondage. I know it. Well, actually, I was thinking about it. I was. Would it be possible to have different types of sex inside the game? Like, you know, not everybody has sex the same way. So, and then I was thinking, if you can romance her, probably she'll bossing around. So I'm wondering if we will have different types of sex inside the game. So before going deeper,
confirmed.
Sorry?
I said golden showers.
Who would you date, Neon?
Well, Neon Wifey's probably watching this, so I'm just gonna not say anything.
That's probably it's
Out of
probably
my
a good
best
idea.
interest is to just shut up.
Yeah.
You would date her when the multiplayer is out.
Sure.
Yes.
Let's go for that one. That's a good answer.
I think it would be really funny to like. No, I don't want to get it. Anything that's bozo related to the question we were on before this last one would be really, really hilarious. I think, because it's like you gotta learn to laugh at this kind of stuff, right? So, yeah. But anyways, all right. So what's K on K is asking another one. Do you think? And this reminds me. Do you guys think that we're going to be able to catch weapons, thrown weapons? There was that if you slowed it down when she threw the mace at you, the sledgehammer, you could actually. There was a moment where it gave you the option to take/equip the mace. What do you guys think of that?
I always.
Well, she could rip really the melee. Sorry, go on.
I was just thinking that you could have done that because it was just really close, and that's like the prompt to pick up the weapon. I didn't think that you would be able to catch it, but maybe if your strength is high enough, you can. I don't know. That would be cool.
Maybe if you have enough strength and you have the gorilla arms, you can do it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think because she can rip the Militech super big gun from the turret. So.
So that would make pretty cool sense. So.
Industrial sledgehammer, right?
Yeah.
I like how it shows like the DPS and like obviously the type of damage it does.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. So, and I like the damage numbers. The damage numbers are pretty good. This is going to be great.
They're a lot more subtle this year.
Yeah, this is going to be a great replacement for that other game that shall not be named.
There's one thing in the combat with Sasquatch that I found a little weird because she's wearing she seems to be wearing a Sandevistan, and it's not like she's using it a lot. And I don't know, for a person that is super strong, and wearing a Sandevistan, it was like a little easy to kill her.
I think that was just for demo purposes, potentially. You think?
Yeah, potentially.
I found it weird when she was like punching. The punching animation looked a little odd to me.
Punching animations from first person's perspectives always look a little odd. I don't know of very many people who watch themselves being punched in the face with open eyes. I mean, really just...
Or no head bob, no like jarring head motions. Yeah, you're just looking straight at the fist.
It's just not something that typically happens. So yeah. I want to address another one of these quick rumors that's going around.
Wait, someone called me Mary Queen.
Mary Queen. Nice.
Is the Gorilla Hands a new cyberware or is old? There are so many types of cyber limbs that I cannot answer this question. There are cyber limbs in the old one. I don't remember there wasn't one specific with the name of Gorilla Hands, but there were a lot of cyber limbs, of different type of cyber limbs for strength.
So I want to address this rumor because it's going around and it absolutely is driving me absolutely mental. Because this is such a dumb way to look at this. Like it's just the worst way to look at this. So the there's a new report going around that the Cyberpunk 2077 map is smaller than the Witcher 3's map, which is again only if you're taking the two up by a side by side comparison, removing all roads in a game that features cars, because that's brilliant, and all travel path systems like the subways and a bunch of other stuff that you can like play around in. And if you remove all seawater, okay, it's another one. And if you're ignoring every floor other than the quote unquote main floor of the travel ground. So it's like if you have a tower that's got like 10, 20, 30, 40 floors in it that you can like move around in, all of that's counted as a single flat surface. Wow, I've got some bridges and some bill of goods to sell you if you believe this means that the Cyberpunk 2077 map is in fact a great deal smaller than the Witcher 3 map. And I really want to know who keeps saying this, because this is really, really stupid.
Even Powell said on our last podcast, he's like, I genuinely don't know sizes.
Yeah,
We're not comparing, we're just making it content heavy, and that's what should matter at the end of the day, right? It's how can you compare a city with like a sprawling, you know, it doesn't make sense.
You're comparing a city with, you know, towers, hundreds and hundreds of towers and up and down scores. You're saying, oh, and we're also not counting the roads. It's like, why aren't you counting the roads? You're counting the roads in the other map. So why are you, like, seriously? I don't understand. Well, it's because the roads aren't meant for like you to walk around in. It's like,
yes, they are.
It's really awesome stuff, I swear. Anyways. So yeah, just nip that in the bud whenever you see that, because that's just that's just embarrassing for whoever's really. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing for whoever keeps writing that. All right, so a couple other questions here. You guys see any?
I said I saw one some time ago. I don't even know who asked it or if the person is still here, but they were asking if we could go crazy as in GTA 5, and the consequences that you paid for things in GTA 5 have nothing to do with the consequences and the branching storylines inside Cyberpunk 2077, a game where everybody's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that the people expect the same. One thing is the freedom to be able to do it in terms of gameplay, that I can't do it, that the gameplay allows me to, I don't know, drive over people. That is one thing, but a different thing is that am I going to pay consequences of that or I'm not? So the gameplay is going to allow us to do it, but the game may make us pay.
It's like,
well, they've said police are not pushovers. They have, you know, augmentation, cyberware. You're not going to get away with anything for very long, because even in districts that don't have that enforcing the Night City Police Department, there's going to be gangs that are going to enforce their rules, right? So,
well, you have in the quote unquote good side of law, you have the police, you have the Psycho Squad, and you have the Vigilante Booster gangs. But then every inch of Night City belongs to a booster gang. Wherever you are, you have to obey the rules of someone.
Yeah. So in that demo that we just saw, if you go around shooting your weapon at people in Pacifica, I'm sure the Voodoo Boys will come at some point and, you know, try to stop you. Only makes sense. And plus, the people in Pacifica are armed to the T anyway. There's some dude shooting at a Aerodyne or something, and wasn't he at a Trauma Team?
Yes.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Shouting, "This is Pacifica!" I thought it was super funny.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Ash was trying to figure out what it was, and yeah, it's like yeah, you can't come to these places and advertise your products as like big, because it was the big corpse that pulled out of there that left this. There's lots of people who went bankrupt or broke or whatever because they had invested in this area, but then all the megacorps pulled out, and now you're kind of stuck with a big bill. So yeah. Apparently, there's some breaking news that it's been confirmed that CDPR is developing both Cyberpunk and Witcher content concurrently now. I have just kind of briefly looked over the article, and it's about as thin as paper, so that's kind of cool. I really don't think that I think they've got another surprise. Of course, they're not going to be giving up on The Witcher, but I think they have another surprise coming. So yeah, we'll be looking into this obviously. From Parkinson, thank you so much, Evan. I'm not sure how you say that. Hey everyone, any chance of a pre-release character creation website to create our characters in advance of the release of the game? This could future games lead to much more in-depth life paths. I don't think this is one of the games that warrants this. It of course is something that we see more and more in like MMO. I mean, Vanilla WoW just did this feature. And again, thank you for the £10. I really appreciate that. But yeah, I don't think that this is something that is necessarily going to become too standard, especially for like single player games. Part of the fun, I think, is like getting it the day of and kind of going through that. But then again, there has been a couple of games that have done that. Some of the Dragon Age stuff did that before. So
the new Borderlands website has you're able to spec your character before you go into it. I think that's really cool. I think that'd be a little spoilery territory for Cyberpunk, but if they did that, I'd be down.
Yeah, it might be interesting. And then Kaon is asking again.
Before you go on, V of Rivia, thank you very much for watching. You can watch it. It's going to be up in the Triple S League channel if you want to watch the rest of the podcast.
Yes. Would you consider a future DLC which would add a whole nother class to the game rather than more story mode content? I think we'll probably get something that's a little bit of both. I think we'll get more depth of characters because, again, it's like we've got a lot of multiplayer functionality coming down the road, but I would like to see something where they come at it from either, some of the classes that they haven't covered. I really want to see kind of like what they do with the media class and the Rocker Boy class. I think they could do some really awesome storytelling with that. I think that would be kind of cool. So depends on exactly how you go about it, though. So
yeah, Lawman. It would be amazing to be able to play as a corporate security agent.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So
Peter Jorgensen, as long as the surprise isn't microtransactions, well, my surprise mechanic for the demo was that you were able to pick people to use them as shields. That's a surprise mechanic. Microtransactions not in Cyberpunk.
As far as Sherry's asking, can we talk about these scenes being in first person since it's confirmed that they're only in first person? They're not only in first person. We've already seen that they're not in first person. In this latest gameplay that was put out, a lot of the cutscenes were not in first person. A lot of the cutscenes had floating eye thing. Now, it wasn't third person. You didn't see V, but you had close-ups on things. You had ghost floating up to big signs. You had disembodied floating close to the floor. So
it was confirmed by journalists that there were scenes in third person in the gameplay in E3. So unless we don't believe them, and I don't think they're blind, because all of them did.
It's just seamless when you're going up to an NPC and you're engaging in dialogue with them. It doesn't switch to that third person element. It's just straight first person. So if you're playing The Witcher 3 and you walk up to an NPC and you talk to them, you go to that third person kind of interaction, that's not going to happen. But there's still going to be third person, narrative storytelling cutscenes like that.
Yeah.
It has been confirmed. Just look at Reddit. Yeah, so I saw this screen capture, and the person sending me insisted that it wasn't photoshopped. But again, the journalists that saw it said that they. And also, if as this screen capture says, sex is going to be in first person. Well, I'm a little afraid of the head bobs, because I have motion sickness.
Yeah.
You have to go up
Yeah.
and down all the time.
And again, we've had this confirmed by every journalist and every person that was there that there were third person cutscenes. So again, I really don't think that this is. I think this is. I think this is made up. I'm gonna say it. I think it's made up.
I think it's a misinterpretation of what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not really easy to wade through what they're kind of saying when it comes to this. So
Well, I see that I saw the screen capture. It was impossible to make any kind of. Let me
what does it exactly
see.
say? There are no third-person cutscenes at all.
Yes, that, and then the other asks, and in sex, yes, sex is also in first person.
Really?
It was a little weird. I mean, the conversation was a little weird. It seemed a bit off. Mostly, again, considering that we were told that in the gameplay there are scenes in third person.
Well, if that's true, that's either going to be their best decision for the game or their worst.
Lilaya said there are no third person cutscenes.
I'm asking Lilaya as we speak.
Yeah.
So, which I may not hear back from her, because people have lives. They're sometimes they're busy with other stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, for now,
That doesn't mean he's
I've-
going to answer.
yeah. So for now, I have heard this come back from. I've heard this being bounced around. If absolutely everything is in first person, because, well, we really need to set this down, because again, we have been confirmed, period, that there are floaty disembodied cutscenes. I mean, you saw it when you walked into the Netwatch agent room. You walked in the Netwatch agent, he pulled out his thing, suddenly your vision zoomed up really close and at a different angle from where V was standing a moment ago, where you saw his badge, and then your vision snapped back to yourself. So unless V is throwing her eye around, pulling it out and kind of like bobbing it around, I mean,
That might have been a photo mode or like an editing thing, though.
it could have been, but I really don't think so. Like,
The-
why would they throw that in, and have that not part of, like, that's the epitome of false advertising. It's like that free cam mode thing where they have that in some of the conversations that happen, or in some of the cutscenes that happen. Like, we have it when you first arrive in Pacifica. You have this floating eyebob thing that's floating around, looking at the area, looking at the sign. It's like, okay, if none of that is in the game and this was a gameplay showing, then that's false advertising, and I don't think that's the case. Now, are we going to see V's body in the game?
Well, I mean,
Routinely?
I'm just watching the gameplay right now, and it starts in a third-person perspective view. So,
Again,
literally,
and-
I have it on the screen right now. I mean, literally.
yeah. So I really don't think that this was responded to very correct. Either it wasn't responded to correctly, or they're working on some older info or something, or it's confusing. Which, I mean, there's been a bunch of stuff that's been confusing.
I
about
think they
this
just
lately,
need to come
so-
out and just make a more elaborate response if they're going to
Yeah.
respond at all. Just like cover all your bases, because then
Yeah.
confusion, where everybody speculates and then misinformation gets spread. If you guys come out and say something concretely, bam, 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 then we'll get the gist of it. You know what I mean? And I get that they don't want to give too much away, but
Yeah, and again, I am the first person, and Madqueen can attest, I am the person who is the most upset about this game being in first person only. I despise first person generally. It's disgusting. It makes it hard to play. It is a stupid, dumb decision that certain people use to cut down on work or effort, adding in a first person / third person mode into a game is about 5 to 10% more work, tops. It really is. You say, oh well, there's a lot of animations and rigging and blah 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 blah. Yeah, if you have a game where you have a mirror in it, you've got to add that stuff in anyways. So give me a break. And if you think that it's 50% more work or it's 100% more work, you just don't know how game engines work, period. Especially not an engine that the last game was a third person game. So
but even 5 to 10% more work on an already monumentally large project is substantial, no? When they could be putting those resources into other things.
I'm saying that's tops. That's like tops. That's like the absolute most. Most companies go with third person or first person as a stylistic, artistic choice, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And my option, my stance is just give us the damn option, right? If you don't want third person in PvP, I can understand that, because you can do wall peeking and stuff like that, and I understand that. I don't think it's as big of an issue as some people do. Like some people say, you can't have a professional level sporting game when people are wall peeking. It's like everybody has the ability to wall peek. So and Fortnite's doing pretty good right now. I don't think anybody's getting angry at Fortnite for not being a skill-based shooter. Mm-hmm. So I very much disagree with that kind of a concept. And from a gaming perspective, somebody's been working with devs for a very long time. It's BS. It's total and complete BS. If somebody's like, it's just too much work. It's like if you are up against an anvil and the hammer is your release date, and you have a lot of issues with animation, and you're doing an RPG, aka in this case I'm talking like the Obsidian's game that's coming out. You can maybe make that statement, and it is somewhat true. However, overall, all you're doing by not giving, especially in an RPG game, by not giving that, is you're just cutting off like potentially upwards of like 20 to 30% of your, but 30% is a little high. You 20% kind of top end is the amount of people that you're just cutting off, saying we don't care about you at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
I disagree. I think the stylistic choice of first person is better. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased because I prefer first person. I didn't have a problem when I thought it was third person, but I don't think the camera angles of third person work well when you're in these like tight, confined little areas. I don't think looking up at buildings, I actually tend to believe what they say, that when you're looking up at buildings, third person is not, it doesn't quite do the same things that first person does in terms of immersion. I would tend to agree with that.
Again, I'm not suggesting that they force it to be third person only. I'm saying that there should be both. Even when I'm playing Skyrim, I do go between both, even for somebody who has a significant motion sickness issue. And more than that, I install a head bob and like real eyes mod, where it's like the head is the head, and and I go back and forth between that all the time. But the thing is that I'll only go into first person for when I'm standing still, or while I'm looking at something, or when I'm talking to somebody. But as soon as I'm going back to movement, it's back to third person. As soon as I'm doing like heavy action and heavy moving around, it's a good 95% third person, and then swapping into that. And that's what I'm saying is I don't understand why it's not both. And again, it's like, I'm not supposed to be going on a rant right now. So
I think they just don't want to divert from their vision. If they're gonna make a decision, they're gonna stick with it, and they're gonna kind of be, I don't want to say stubborn, but they're gonna believe in that's the way that the game should be played.
I just find it a little patronizing and a little annoying that you have people say this, what you said, but then you'll have them kind of go out of their way to make a to add changes to the game because a very small number of people are unhappy about something, and they'll go out of their way to like fix that, but they won't go out of their way to add a function that literally can shrink their player base by 20%. So that's just where it's like okay, I don't think that necessarily agrees. And and again, I didn't mean to get on this tangent, but what my point of this is that we're not brainwashed fanboys here. You know, none of us are. I'm very happy with the game as it's shaping up.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be able to enjoy playing it as much as I would like to, because I'm going to have to be constantly dealing with the first person thing, which is going to make my gameplay style is going to be heavy ninja, zero combat as much as possible, sneaking around without engaging hardly at all, because I'm not going to be able to. And so I'm thankful that they've added that as a primary option.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way I can go quite slowly, get through the game, and not have to deal with the constant issue of motion sickness. That's great, and that's a big saving grace for me, and why I look at the gameplay and I go, no, this is really good. This is basically, you know, where I expect it to be. So 100%.
And even like a lot of people want to see their characters as well. If this is true with the third person cutscenes removed, even the general ones, I think people are going to get a little bit more upset about this one, because that's another kind of element that you're not going to be able to see your character. So I kind of empathize with that a little bit, because, you know, then the only thing that you have is third person driving, and then obviously maybe the inventory screen.
Well, I put a link to, because I just uploaded it on Twitter, a link to the scene that is in the gameplay where you can see V. In the gameplay that we saw Friday, I don't mean past gameplay.
Yeah.
You can see V in third person.
Well, that's a mirror.
And I think this was the character creator for that demo, was it not? It was like a
No. This is the just, there's mirrors all over the place, and you can buy and sell, or you can buy clothes.
Really, it looks like a door, because what V has in the back has nothing to do with the space inside. It looks like a door. He's on the outside. The door opens as he's getting inside somewhere.
I thought it was a mirror too, but it might be a door. But how can you have a door in the middle of a shopping cart? There's a shopping cart in the back. You know what I mean? It's like cutting through the shopping cart.
Shopping cart? Well,
there's a shopping cart behind the mirror.
Oh, I thought it was the to pull the door open.
No, that is a mirror, Madqueen.
Well, it's a mirror. Then you can see the character anyway. That was the thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and you do have photo mode, and there's going to be a couple other ways that you can look at yourself, and I mean, you can look down at your character. We've kind of seen that, like you can look down at your body and see your hands and stuff. I think it's kind of what they've kind of alluded to. It'd be kind of interesting if you can look down and see cleavage or chest or shirt or whatever. So that would be.
That would extend people's gameplays by like a good couple hours. Just spend an hour looking down.
It depends. But anyways, yeah, no, this is. I think this is healthy, because you know we're not mindless fanboy zombies here. So you know we have very strong feelings on certain subjects, right? And so we're not. You know, somebody said that we were too fanboyish, and I'm like, no. We have our issues, we have our concerns.
I mean,
we
just
don't
because we
dwell
like
on
most
them because of hate clicks, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and
I mean,
I don't think
honest, we like most of the things that we're seeing. It's not like we're just being blind. If we don't like something, we're gonna mention it, right? That's the point of having.
I really don't think the hate click idea of like, oh, I don't like this, so I'm immediately gonna like thumbs down it and then walk away. I really don't think that's a healthy thing for like game developers. If you like 90% of the product, great, be vocal about the last 10%. You know, if it's 50-50, I mean, be vocal about the 50%, and you know, engage positively, you know, state your case, and they'll either see reason in it or they won't. So and again, it's like so again, just as far as like Alien Octopus, just to kind of like confirm, by the way, that's a great name, just to confirm, basically we're looking at this, and what we can tell is that I don't know how many third person scenes are going to be in the game, but there is lots and lots of out of body visuals. There's a lot of them. So yeah. And then you can see yourself when you're on a motorbike all the time. So take that with what you will.
We'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, we'll get to the bottom of this.
I'm sure they'll clarify.
Yeah. So you guys keep going. I actually have Laia here on the thingy, so I'm just going to ask her a quick question here and see if she can answer
I
this.
guess we'll answer Sarah's question. Regarding a stealth run, will there be an option to have your mic on? If the mic picks up background sounds from your room, will it alert enemies to your in-game location? That would be cool. I think that would be cool. I don't think that would be
depending on where you live. I mean, some people live in places that the city is always making noises.
You're pretty much dead 24/7 in game.
I wouldn't be if the microphone picked those. I wouldn't be able to play in my mother's house because there are always animals around.
Mm-hmm. I guess it would be like an option, right? You can obviously mute your mic. That would be a cool kind of feature. Maybe a mod would address that. That would be cool. What did you think of the music? I don't think we've talked about the music in the demo.
I think it's lovely. I think it's lovely.
I love it.
I didn't like the music in the other gameplay. I thought it sounded way too early 2000s, and I didn't believe it was fit for the game. But even though I liked the what was the name? Spoilers. It's called Spoilers. The song. What's the name of the song of the past trailer?
Which trailer? E3.
The E3 past E3.
Hyper
2018.
spoiler. Spoiler
Yes.
by Hyper. Yeah.
This one. It was cool, but I don't believe it fit. It could fit the mood as the new song of the new trailer that is fantastic. I'm in absolute love with the music.
Same. The track that started playing when the solo class, they were featuring the solo class. I'm in love with that track. It's so good.
I'm curious to see how many styles of music are we going to find in the game. Someone in my channel if I thought that hip hop was going to be there, and as well.
Well, in the
we have a visitor. Hello, Pavel.
Hello, what's up?
Hello, would you mind to answer people if we're going to have cutscenes in third person or everything is going to be in first person, including sex? Because I'm concerned about the head bobs. I have motion sickness.
Well, they said
if I have to blow people in game, I'm going to get dizzy.
They said that you would disable it, right?
Sorry?
They said that you would be able to disable it.
Disable what?
The head bobs.
Oh yes, yeah, no, but I was making a joke with blowjobs here.
Oh, okay. That went over my head. No pun intended.
Hello, I always spy on you. You know that. Thank you very much for joining us, Pavel. But I heard the interview. I heard the interview you did and after the demo, and it was the first time in 10 years that I heard you introduce yourself as Pavel. I heard that.
We made him change his tune when we asked him so many questions about his name last time. We made him reestablish what he actually wants to be called.
For those of you who don't know, we have Pavel Sasko as guest on past podcast, and you're going to find it in LastKnownMeal's channel, who is not here because he's taking a vacation. And I apologize again because we had him kidnapped for 2.5 hours, and I thought that we were there for less than an hour.
It was 2.5.
2.5 hours, yeah.
And it's probably
I am so sorry.
Probably late in Poland when he was doing that as well.
Poland and Spain share the same time zone.
Okay. That's not too bad then.
This time around, I will listen to you. Well, we're talking about Cyberpunk 2077. What a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I missed the question. We were answering something.
We need to... Oh, we were... Music? I think music.
Yes, music.
Doing music. Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on music?
I like the... I don't know if you were watching it on Twitch or Mixer beforehand, but like the track that was playing during the countdown. Do you remember that one? I don't know if that's part of the actual soundtrack of the game, but like that music gave me anxiety, but like in the best way. Like, I remember we were talking about like.
I believe that you were already quite.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I remember you asking the paranoia question to Pablo last week. My mind just immediately went to that question. I was like, it's going to be represented in the music as well, which is awesome.
All right.
I don't remember the track. I believe it was.
So
I had it
Pavel, you have to help us out here because I'm starting to go in circles now. So, Lalaya has confirmed that she's not confirming or denying the existence of third-person visual scenes at all, and that
No. You
she's
cannot
not
ask him questions during the podcast. You cannot ask
that she's
him.
okay.
He's a
I'm
listener.
just
He's a listener today.
okay.
He's a
Well, in
listener.
that case, I am just stating. Just got off with Lalaya here, and she's confirming that she is not saying or commenting on the existence of third person / first person only anything at this time. So
I'm sorry, but
what was put on
answer.
Reddit?
None of them can answer questions without PRs.
Yeah,
permission. We don't want to put them into trouble.
He can confirm that Lalaya said that she can't talk about this right now. So okay. So then let's put this Reddit thing to bed then, basically at the moment, because nobody's willing to and they've gone out of their way to confirm that they cannot talk about this. That means that this is still up in the air, and that obviously CDPR is still working on this, and that it is subject to change. So let's stick with that, and we will go with that. So there we go. That's about all we can do, basically. So,
and make jokes about head bobs and blowjobs.
And the jokes about head bobs and blowjobs and stuff like that. And it's like it's great.
First person problems.
First person problems. Yeah. You know, the other day, I actually had like a VR goggle on and put the drone up, and third person walked all the way to the grocery store. It was great. It was amazing. Got some stairs. That's fine. Had to respawn once because I got run over by a truck, but that's okay. It's fine. It's cool.
You can't do that in real life?
Don't you know that he's a robot?
Oh, true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems a human sometimes.
Alrighty. So okay. Is there any other questions here?
Israel Mays, are you actually Pavel Sasko? Yes, he is.
Yes.
I want to ask Pavel about the 8-barrel shotgun, but I know we shouldn't ask him questions when it's the listener. But
I have a question that Pavel, I insist you answer this question. Are you having a good day? There we go.
Oh, wait, I'm going to write PR to see if they give us permission for him to answer this question.
No.
Please do.
He can confirm or deny he's having a good day.
We'll sell the vein implants only in the game. Vein implants confirmed.
Well, what did you think about the music, Saib? We were discussing music while you weren't there. You weren't here.
I'm pretty good with the music. I think it's fine. My preferred type of music and what I think would be a pretty popular genre in this time space is like I'm probably thinking like Nightcore would be still kind of fairly popular because it only keeps getting popular. I know. I'm such a angsty teen-year-old. I'm apparently I'm an angsty teen. So, anyways, it's just that I think it's fine. I think overall, like I appreciate all music. I really do. I have Bach and Beethoven, and I've got some old stuff from Rockefeller ages. So, it's I appreciate all music. But yeah, I think the music they have so far is great, is perfectly fine, not super my taste, but that's just music, and I do not ever give a game a negative rating because I don't like the music, because music is entirely subjective. I've never ever encountered a game where I would dock at points because I just didn't like the music. There are games where I would give it, a bonus point for music, but basically all games basically get like an A unless there's something technically wrong, like terribly with the game, and the audio is just not cleaned up very well. You've got some guy yelling in the background while they're recording the nature sounds, and you get a quad ripping by, and you're basically playing like a fantasy game. It's like, yeah, unless they've got that kind of a problem, I really 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 would never ever give a negative point to a game. It's always great music, A+, unless there's a problem with it. If you get obviously if you get just perfect music in, then obviously you get boosted up to the S rank. But all music is A rank, because music is one of those things that is very very subjective, unless it's done poorly.
But one thing is that you like or dislike. The very different thing is that the music suits or not. You may
no, the music suits
music.
Absolutely, yeah. No, the music so far in the game is suiting absolutely 100%.
I mean, I love John Williams, but if you put John Williams in Cyberpunk, it would sound
obviously weird. right. But I mean, and that's what I mean about kind of like the quad rip there. Is like obviously some things fit, some things don't. But honestly, so go back to which I'm so happy that the game is coming to North America. It'll probably be crap, but at least it is coming to North America. Is Kingdom Under Fire 2.
Allow me to please cut you for a second.
Okay.
People in the chat, we would really appreciate that you don't make questions to Pavel, because he's today here as a listener, not as a guest of the podcast, and he's not here to answer questions, but to be part of the audience as well as you. So and please be kind, and apart from asking him is he's having a good day or things like that, which is always pleasant, we would really appreciate that you avoid making him questions about the game.
And the only reason why we gave him mod status is so that you understand that we have confirmed that this is Pavel, that this is not somebody posing as Pavel. So anytime we have a guest on, there's a couple of guests who come onto the channel every once in a while in the chat, we always give them mod status so that you can see that we have actually confirmed that they are who they are, and that if they were to say something one way or the other, that you can take it that's from an authoritative person, not from somebody posing as them, because there's lots of people who pose as people from other game.
But people don't believe he's him because he didn't say their lord.
Yeah. Right. So, but anyways, just one of the Kingdom Under Fire 1 had a like hard metal soundtrack to it. It's a fantasy game, and at first I didn't think it fit at all, but after you play that game for like, you get 5-10 hours into the campaign, and you're like charging with mounted horses into a whole pile of like archers. It's like, hey, this actually really does fit. So yeah, I get, so with the music, basically my opinion is that it's absolutely 100% it's 100% in the eye of the beholder. And I would never ever give it be negative because of that. It's like people who downrank racing games because they don't like racing games. It's like, if you don't like racing games, don't review a racing game. Absolute jack. So yeah. But anyways, what else we got for questions? Throw out a couple questions to us here. And we will. Oh yes, and again, we do have the winners of the giveaway.
I believe that you forgot to mention that it was the digital version.
Yes, it is the digital version. Jumpstart Kit is the Jumpstart digital kit. Is going out to Greek Strawberry, David K, and Dog of War. These are their Twitter handles.
We'll tweet them out, so you guys.
We will speak to them. This was used. This was drawn by using Gleam. So we had no hand in it. So just kind of giving away, how we set it up. We were really happy with the interaction and reaction. So we're going to start to do more giveaways. We're going to try to do more giveaways at least once at least once every month, but we
Yeah.
may end up doing it once every week. So
And shout out to Artosorian for giving us the codes.
yes,
He gave
yes,
it to
and
us
we
last.
did. Yeah, and we did make it, so that you kind of had to kind of follow and retweet them. And they said that they had a couple hundred people subscribed to their to both their Twitter page and to their
That's
Facebook
big.
page. So that was really big for them. They really appreciate that. So thank you for everybody who put in. And this really has encouraged us to do more of these. So we're going to be doing a ton more of these in the future.
Good luck,
So,
because I never have luck with giveaways. I mean, let's see what happens. What happens with this code? Because I still owe a pizza to someone I contacted with and never came for the pizza. Someone actually almost guessed the release date, because someone said the birthday of Mike Pondsmith on 2020. That's only 2 days difference. Was the person that was the closest.
yeah, that's pretty good.
So
Yeah.
no one's claimed the pizza?
No one
Yeah.
claimed. No, I mean, I contacted this person like, well, go to my Discord,
Can we
give
claim
me
the
your
pizza?
address and what's your favorite pizza, and never heard back.
So I'm gonna name the motorbike in the game Roach. I'm not gonna name the spider bot Roach because I So
There was a Netwatch agent called Roach in the trailer. Did you guys see that?
Yeah,
I don't know if that was a homage or a callback.
that's
pretty fun.
that is what we call a hidden Easter egg, or
I wonder if
Yeah.
you have to pick it up from the.
but yeah, what would you guys name your spider bot?
Jeffrey.
Wesley, I think, is a good one, and if I could make him talk, I'd make him go, "Yes, Wesley." Like he would respond to everybody as Wesley.
You need a
think
mod
that
for that.
I think that would be pretty darn
Eugene.
cool.
Eugene's a banger.
Yeah. Of course, if you want to make people cry, you just call her Charlotte. Because
Charlotte's Web.
yeah, I watched another show called Charlotte. Sorry, not called Charlotte. It had one of the main characters' name was Charlotte in it, and that thing was sadder than the previous one that I watched. And I'm like, what is wrong with people? Why did if I was named Charlotte, I would just be like, wow, I would be really insulted.
I don't know how to go, but I need to be able to put names to weapons, because I want my favorite weapon to be called the Breathtaker.
Yeah. I think naming weapons would be actually pretty cool.
How did you guys like the weapons? I don't think we've even talked about that.
Well, we talk about weapons a lot. If one day we don't talk about weapons, we can live with that.
So I did confirm. So Charlotte is the name of the anime, and it's worse than Charlotte's Web. If you cry during Charlotte's Web, if you watch Charlotte the anime, you will cry even more, and it is a terrible thing to get somebody else to watch. It's just,
I like Darkness's comment. I'll name mine Anita Sarkeesian. That's hilarious.
Oh, there's
Let's not go. Let's not walk this road. Please.
Let's not.
Yeah,
let's
no.
not.
Especially with all the recent stuff that's been going on.
No, that's not the best way. How are you going to call your weapons if you can rename your weapons?
Well, Mr. Tickles is going to be that big gun that she pulls off the turret.
I demand. The one that you pull off the turret. Was it automatic? Yes. Yes, it was automatic. Yeah. Yes, because I was going to say I demand Mr. Tickles to a weapon that it's automatic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a very good idea. So.
Mr. Tickles. Well, if they are bullet spongy, then yes, it's going to be a great name. Well, actually, we were discussing this many times about enemies being bullet spongy and how difficulty is going to affect the way that the enemies react. If difficulty is only going to make them more bullet spongy. And it's funny because what I commented before about Sasquatch having a Sandevistan, or looks like, maybe if more difficult, she's using it more. It would make sense more than being more bullet spongy, that she's just more difficult to hit.
I think maybe a little bit more bullet spongy as well. That only makes sense, right? You can only use abilities to a certain degree.
Yeah. you see this a lot in the military. The guys always name everything something. And it says one guy flew a particular helicopter. I can't say the real name because then that would ID the person. But it was along the lines of like Martha, right? It's like that's the name of his helicopter. Is basically named it after his grandmother. It was not Martha, but it was one of those like, you know, old timey lady names kind of thing, right? So we're flying through a canyon and we're talking, and he's like, "Shh, quiet. We don't want to. We want Martha to be able to sneak up on people." Now this is hilarious because if you know what an Apache sounds like, it sounds like 15 thunderstorms constantly. This is not. It's not exactly a quiet vehicle that you can sneak around with. But yeah, I think Martha would be or some nice old lady name for like a katana or maybe Martha and Mildred.
How about Eunice?
For the
Mildred.
For the Martha and Mildred for the arm blades. You know, it's like meet Mildred, meet Martha. You know, or Mildred, or it's like you want to walk into a bar and like instead of saying hello to my little friend, it's like two big beefy guy names for both of your fists, like Tony and Stork, right? It's like instead of doing that, you go, oh, this is Mabel and this is Aunt Jenny, and they're gonna.
I don't know if it's a local thing from Spain, but when you say that, it means that you are introducing your nipples. Long story. I believe it's local from Spain.
You're introducing your nipples? Wait, what? That's a
yes.
thing?
Yes, it seems so.
Like some
okay,
customary...
well, apparently Spain has some really weird stuff.
It's an interesting custom.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Have you met my nipples?
No, it's the worst part that this is really a thing. Obviously, a thing you only do with friends. It's a joke.
Oh, I get you.
Okay, gotcha. It's like
you
Thomas
don't do it
and
with
the twins.
strangers.
You don't do this in a grocery store or anything like that?
No, obviously.
Let's hope not. Excalibur. I mean, that's always a good name for any weapon. Yeah, that's always good. If you put ability points all over, you'll never be super proficient in anything, right? So how can they manage it if the player doesn't have jump bigger and bigger skill hurdles? Well, that's part of the thing, right? Like if you go squishy build and you're like permanently squishy, then you got to find a way to work around that. I like that as a concept. I like giving the player a huge area to play with, and then limiting them in regards to how much they can do or what exactly they can do. So I think this is totally okay. I think this is totally. I really support this idea. I think it's a great idea. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I am totally up for that. In the scenarios that you can like, you can be challenged to come up with a new way to solve a problem because you are not, you can't pass one particular skill hurdle, or maybe you just lose out on the mission, because that's an option too. You can fail missions and continue going. So I think that, I think there's some missions there that make sense. So yeah, I'm okay with that. So anyways.
Well, we've been here for
we should probably close her up here. So thank you guys so much. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Again, we don't like having to e-beg you to do this. It is only because YouTube kind of mandates it, and if you don't bother to even ask, you don't really get spread around. We really do appreciate all of the follows on Twitters, on our Twitter, on all of our Twitters, on the of course all of our channels, and when you are following us on the for the official podcast as well, you it gets distributed out to I believe pretty much every platform. So whatever you're on, whatever you listen to your podcasts on, I believe this is out there, so you can pick this up. If you can give us a like there too, that really helps with the pushing us up higher in a couple of the podcast ratings, gets a little bit more people into hearing this, and that is a good thing. So thank you guys so much. Madqueen, any final words?
I was going to make the joke that make what Pavel said. Squish the like.
Squish the like, yes. Neon.
Where the hell
sorry,
is
keep going.
Last Known Meal is taking a break because
he's on vacation.
He's on vacation and he will be back. I mean, don't worry,
Yes.
he will be back. He's just on holidays.
Yeah, I said it in the tweet that he is on vacation temporarily, and he will be back in about a week and a half. So, yay. Neon, anything?
No, just we'll be back next week, obviously on Sunday, 2 p.m. EST. So come back and join in the discussion.
I believe this is going to be my channel, right?
Yes, it's your channel.
Yes.
Yeah. And then obviously Last Known is not here, so we might have to skip. I don't know how long he's taking off. 2 weeks, he said.
But
he
you
said
want to
that
take
past
the
week.
next one.
Okay, yeah, so he'll be back for his.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool. All right, have a good day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace out.
Bye.